Day one of the midterm is going to have these kinds of problems on it. I was just trying to figure out who was chewing on a straw or something. I can hear it, but I can't see it. Oh. Okay. So you'll have order of operations problems. Things like, let me flip in our textbook, find some good problems. I will tell you the page. Deal? Good. Come on, thing. So you'll have things like problem 4 on page 67. (32) division by 4 plus 2 cubed minus 3. So you'll have problems like that where it says evaluate the expression. So what would we do first on this problem? Yeah, so 2 cubed, which is what?
4. No, 6.
2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Now what?
32 divided by 4.
Yeah. What's 32 divided by 4?
8.
And then what's 8 plus 8 minus 1? 15. You also might have things like number 5. Oh, that's squared. What would you do first there?
From the parentheses.
Okay.
2 times 4.
2 times 4, which is 8. What would we do now? Okay, so 8 squared is what?
64.
And 3 squared is?
9.
Now what?
Division.
We would do the 7 plus 9. Here's where it falls in our PIMDOS. We treat this like it was in parentheses because it's 64 divided by the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So 7 plus 9, which is? 16. So 64 divided by 16, which is what?
4.
It is 4. Okay, let's see, what else? What else kinds of problems you might have? What? No. What? I am giving you the problem types that are going to be on the test. Yes, day 1. What? 1 through 3. Where are you saying 1?
Chapter 1.
I'm giving you all the different types of problems. The first types of problems that we saw are from lesson 1. Okay. So you'll also have problems like 10 and 11 on that from there. So number 11, let's do it. 5p minus 2 times negative 3. So it says to rewrite each expression using the distributive property, then simplify. So how do we rewrite this using the distributive property? Yeah. So it'd be 5p times negative 3 minus 2 times negative 3, right? So what's 5p times negative 3? No. Negative 15p. And then negative 2 times negative 3 is what? Positive 6. Okay. So you'll have problems like that. What? You could have skipped this intermediate step, but it says to rewrite it with the distributive property, which would be this. So you'll have stuff with function notation, which I think is not in this lesson. Oh, no, just kidding. Like 20 and 21. Let's do them both. So 20 and 21. So if f of x equals 5 minus 2x and g of x equals x squared minus 7x, we're supposed to find g of 3 to start. So what do we do to do that?
You would replace the x's with 3.
So it would in this one, right? So we change this to a 3 and change this to a 3, right? So now what would we do?
From the top two.
Exponent. What's 3 squared? Now what? Negative 7 times 3, which is what? And then 9 minus 21 is what?
It would be
Oh, I put a minus. That's why. Our answer was different than what the book said, but it's because I wrote the problem wrong. But it's fine. Still good practice. Negative 12. G of 3 equals negative 12. It's important to remember that this doesn't mean G times 3, right? So what about 21? What if they leave a letter in there, right? So 21, they want us to find f of negative 6y. So what do we do there?
you would replace the x with
In which one?
on the f of x.
So 5 minus 2 times negative 6y. So what would we do now? It's not really distributive, we're multiplying, right? So negative 2 times negative 6y is what?
12y?
Positive 12. Negative times a negative is positive. Can we do anything else? No, we can't do anything else. It's as simple as that one gets. Because those aren't like terms, right? Okay. Good. See what else is going to be on the first day of the midterm. Some simple equations are going to be on the midterm. Let's do some simple equations. There's not going to be what? There might be a word problem. Who knows? Y'all all know how to read. It's fine. Nobody can understand anything you're saying. There's a sink in the kitchen? So yes. You can. Yes. All right, so there will be one-step equations like page 145, numbers 3 through 5. Yeah. So like number 3, x minus 5 equals negative 11. So what would we do to solve that? Add 5 to both sides, yeah. So x would end up equaling what?
Negative 6.
Negative 6. It's liable to be something like number 5, where it's t over 6 equals negative 3. How do we solve that?
Times the 6 off.
The reciprocal.
Which would be 6 over 1, right? Yeah, yeah. So t equals negative 3 times 6, which is what?
Negative 18.
Negative 18. Easy peasy. There's liable to be something like number 7. P over 4. There's liable to be something like 6. I'm just picking matter. 6 and 7. You can put your listing stuff, circle in it, so you can know what kinds of problems to study. So what would we do to solve this?
Multiply 4.
You are going to eventually, but it's going to be easier to get rid of the 3 first.
Oh, add the 3.
Yeah, add the 3. 12, I think, right?
Multiply the 4.
Now we would multiply the 4.
Which will equal. Someone's made pizza.
What?
Good, good.
I know.
Okay, there's also liable to be something like 9 and 10. We'll do both of those.
And then in the second half of the midterm, 4 and 5.
4 and 5. This is 2.
Yeah, I know.
You mean 3 and 4?
Oh, do we have 5? No. Oh, yeah.
No, we don't have 5. Won't come till January.
So easy.
Yeah, I guess so.
First one will be the easiest.
So 9 is 5y equals 9y plus 8. So how would we go about solving that?
We would minus the 9y to the 5y. Or the 5y.
So minus 9y minus 9y. What's 5 minus 9y?
Negative 4.
Negative 4y. Now what would we do?
Plus the 4.
Add the
And then what?
Divide
by 12.
By negative 4, 'cause we're getting the one off the y, right? Yeah. So what's the answer?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. Okay, what about 10? Well, you'd have to solve problems like it, so we should do one. 3 times 2k minus 2 equals negative 2 times 4k minus 11. So, what would we have to do on this problem?
Distribute both.
Yeah. So what's 3 times 2k? 6k. And then 3 times negative 2 is? Negative 6, right? And then negative 2 times 4k is what?
Negative 8k.
Negative 8k. And then negative 2 times negative 11 is what? Positive, right? Now what? Okay, how?
Plus the 8 off. No, plus the 8 off.
This isn't very
Plus
close.
8. Plus the 8k to the 6k.
Add 6k. We got to get the k's together, right? 6k plus 8k is what?
14k.
14K.
And then what?
Plus the 6.
So 14k equals 28. Now what?
Divide the 14. Only 2k?
No, not k.
Equals 2.
K equals 2.
That's barely anyone. 2k. Can't pay off on ground with that. 2k is not a small amount of money.
Kind of depends on context.
Yeah, depends on what
Okay? You also will have problems like 13 and 14.
Oh, no.
Absolute value of p minus 4 equals 6. So, what do we have to do with those?
We would plus,
No, can't get to the 4 yet. Got to deal with the absolute value.
we would change it to p plus 4.
No,
How did it change it to addition?
not when there's letters there.
The other thing.
Move the p to divide the p. Multiply the p. Something to do with p.
How many answers are there to this problem?
1.
That's not true.
2. Did you get this?
Because if I put a 6 right here, then it gives me a 6. But if I put a negative 6, it also gives me a 6. right? So I have to split this into a positive version and a negative version. So if the inside is positive, so it's self, it gives me the answer. And if it's all negative, it also gives me that answer. And I can solve each one of those baby equations. So what do I do on this one? Add the 4. So P equals 10. Now what about over here? What do I do over here? Can't get to the 4 yet. He's trapped.
Would you do negative P, would you distribute?
You can. There's 2 ways to start this one, and that is definitely one of them. You can distribute that. If there's not a number there, what is it?
A 1.
Just a 1, right? So negative 1 times P is negative P, right? Negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4, right? Now what would you do? Subtract 4. So negative P equals 2. Gotta finish getting P by itself. What do I gotta do?
Subtract by 1. No, divide.
Divide by negative 1, right? So P equals negative 2. So P equals 10 and negative 2, both. What? Lies. Okay, you're not talking to yourself? What about 14?
So those are the answers?
Yes,
What page is this?
145. Okay, so now we've got the absolute value of 2b plus 5 equals 9. So what do we need to do? We need to split it into 2. Into the positive version and the negative version. The positive version is just that, right? 2b plus 5 equals 9. What is the negative version going to look like?
Negative in parentheses.
Mm-hmm. So what are we going to do first over here? What about over here?
Show us the other way that isn't distributing.
You could divide both sides by negative 1. So over here, we end up with 2b equals what? 4. And over here, we end up with 2b plus 5 equals what? Negative 9. So over here, what would we do?
Subtract off the, or divide off the 2.
What would we do over here?
Subtract 5.
So we end up with b equals 2. And 2b equals, no, definitely not.
It's negative 14.
Negative 14. Divide the 2, yeah. Negative 7. Easy money, right? Okay. You also will have problems like 15 and 16. You also will have problems like 15 and 16. Ask stupid questions, get stupid answers. Continuing on. Luckily, that was only like a little bit stupid question, like not very much, only a little tiny bit. It's like asking, what time is it? Time for you to Get a watch and know that I will let you go when it's time to go. Still on page 145. Number 15. So we got to solve a over 3 equals 16 over 24. We've got a proportion. How do we solve a proportion?
We cross multiply.
We do. Cross multiply and divide. All you said technically was cross, but
I think correct.
you could reduce. That is a way you could do things. So a times 24 is what? 3 times 16 is what?
48.
It is 48. Now what would you do?
5 to 24. Which would be 2.
So a equals 2.
No, it's so easy.
It is easy. What about number 16? So 9 over k plus 3 equals 3 over 5. So what would we do? Cross multiply. So on this one, it's a little more complicated, right? It's got to be 3 times k plus 3, right? The other side's easy peasy. 9 times 5 is what?
45.
45.
I was gonna say something.
Yep. So now what? Sure, that's fine. Or you could divide by 3. You'll get there either way. Not on this problem. What's 3 times k?
3K.
And 3 times 3 is 9. That's true. Now what? Subtract 9. Three k equals 36. No, mean 36.
But it makes most sense.
It's not making no sense. That's subtracting from that.
So k equals 12. So that's it, I think. Let me double check. For day 1, for Tuesday's portion.
First one's going to be easy.
Well,
Easier.
the final should have been easy last year, and it seems to me you didn't make a good grade last year, so maybe study and don't just assume things are going to be easy. Not just you, like everybody. Like at this age range, that is an easy temptation to be like, okay, it's going to be easy, I got this, and then you show up at the test and it all oozed out your ears because you didn't actually study like you should have. You have a week to study for this part of the test. Do so. Let me make sure that's all the pieces of the first part. Yeah. So that's all that's going to be on day 1 of the final exam, of the midterm.
What do you do next class?
Next class, we're going to look at what you're going to do on Thursday. Got more review to do. Got inequalities to look at. Okay? So, where can you study? Where are good places to study?
Videos.
Or do you like in your home? Where do you
Well, that is a great, fun answer. So I just gave you all of the problem types, all of them. Where can you find more problems like that? Practice tests,
Study good.
quizzes, the study guide. In case you don't know, there's the practice test, and then before that, there's all these study guide problems. Where else? Sure, videos that match. Some of those were in the book. Where else in the book? We talked about the study guide, we talked about the practice tests, which are great places. Where else? Are there problems like the ones I gave you? Homework problems, absolutely. You can go look at the odd problems. Odd problems already give you the answers, right? The ones with green circles, like, find one, like number 15 on page 122. This would be day 2, a day 2 type problem, but the ones with green circles, it has an entire walkthrough of the problem in the back of the book. So it walks it all the way through.
But will we not have percentage change on?
That'll be on the second day. Yes, I said that.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah. That was the first green circle I happened to see as I was flipping back through. Okay, so those are great ones to do because you already have a full walkthrough. Like it gives you all the steps to do it, right? Okay. Excuse me. If you are working on studying, which you should do, you don't have any other homework other than you don't have any new notes videos. You don't have any new homework problems. You don't got nothing for a week that's actually specifically assigned. So if you don't study, that foolishness is on you. And you make a 25 on the midterm, that foolishness is on you. So don't be foolish. If you're studying, you use stuff from the book that matches the problems that we did in here today, and you want answers to those problems, you can send me a message and I'll send you the answers to those problems. Yeah, or you could just yell at me, but you should send me a message and the thing, and then I'll put it up there, and then you will benefit other people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Any questions about the midterm exams?
Is it gonna be like class trees? Like the layout of it?
It'll look like a test. I don't know what you mean. What do you mean?
It was different or something.
It wasn't that different. I don't think that's actually true. It was pretty much like a test, but with more than one unit on it.
More questions.
Okay. Are there any other problem types we did today that y'all know you're like, okay, I would really like to look at another one or two of those?
Proportions.
Proportions. Okay, let's do it.
The hardest ones are the ones that don't get right on.
The hardest problems are what?
The two lines make everything positive.
The absolute value ones. Yeah, those I would definitely study. Where you're getting weird texts. Oh no, so sad.
You say like whatever this is, welcome to the
Register.
welcome to
For
the
tomorrow
West
morning.
invite.
Backwards high
High
five.
five.
How about let's do? No, I don't like. Let's do ones that are harder than that. 2, 6. Yeah, let's do that. We'll do these two.
Right after electronics class, I look if I drop anything. When I come Tuesday, I always find my stuff that I find last week.
Silly. So r over 8 equals 25 over 40. So what would we do? Cross multiply. R times 40 is what? 40 R. 8 times 25 is what?
200.
Then what would we do?
Divide the 40.
So R would equal what? 5. What about this one? X plus 4 over 5 equals 3 over 8. So what would we do? cross multiply. 8 times x plus 4 is 8 times x plus 4, right? 3 times 5 is what? 15. Okay, now what?
Distribute.
Sounds
Or
good.
divide by 8.
Yeah, either one. This one, distributing, wouldn't give you fractions, so probably would be easier on this one. Less scary. What's 8 times x? 8x.
I'm in class.
2. 32.
And then what?
Subtract 32.
Subtract 32.
So 8x equals what?
Negative 17.
Negative 17. And then 1 by 8. So x equals
Negative 17
negative 17/8.
Wow.
Wow.
Save steps by dividing by 8 in the first place.
So yes, but on this one, you would end up with x plus 4 equals 15/8. And then you'd have to do 15/8 minus 4, which isn't that bad, but well, more scary. It's actually about the same, like, because you just get a common denominator here, and so minus 4, which is minus 32/8,
Right.
and then you get negative 17/8. So it's just more scary because you end up with fractions.
Would you be able to turn it into a mixture? Or keep it as a,
Would I be able to? Yeah, I'm totally able.
are you allowed?
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Bro, Dad, I know the answers to the questions.
There's only a few times where you have to do it as an improper fraction, like slope, for example.
Are we going to do it in the first test or
On the second test has all that stuff on it.
okay?
Second day. Any other problem types that we looked at today that you're like, okay, I know that that's a little scary. Do we need to do an absolute value one? Yes, we do. Let's do an absolute value one. Okay. They're not very hard, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't study it and you don't really do them and like actually practice and look at the questions, you're going to miss the absolute value ones. You just are. And I know that from experience. If you do not practice it, if you do not make sure you have it down, you're going to miss those. I know that that's what's going to happen because that's what happens every year. People don't really study well, and those are the ones they're going to miss. So study well. Go back and watch the videos again. Let's do two problems. One that has a nice answer that's kind of cheating. Let's do page 106. And we'll start with number 24. Absolute value of v minus 2 equals negative 5. So, what should we do? Nah, we shouldn't do that on this one. Before we split it, we should stop and think about it.
Well, it doesn't have an answer, right? Because
Right.
an absolute value, the answer can't be negative.
That's right. Absolute value cannot end up being negative. The answer is a null set. There is no real solution to this problem. Great. Let's do another one. How about 26? On the same page. So if its absolute value equals some negative, that's the answer. Right? Absolute value of 8w plus 5 equals 21. What should we do? Yeah, we should split it. What does the positive one look like?
The same thing.
Yeah, without the absolute value, right? So 8w plus 5 equals 21. And then what about the other one?
Negative.
Negative parentheses 8w plus 5.
Now what?
Subtract the 5.
So 8W equals, what?
Oh, wait, no.
That's 21. You accidentally write a 1, yep. Okay.
60.
What?
16.
60.
What about over here?
Divide by negative
8W plus 5 equals negative 21. And then we divide by 8. W equals 2. Y'all want to know what my other piece of advice for studying is? If you're going to study and you're like, I got this, you should like spend a few minutes studying that.
If you don't got it,
You should spend a lot of minutes, possibly watching other videos and things. But if you go and you're going to study and you're like, oh, this is easy, you should spend some time studying that. Don't just assume you got this. Take a few minutes, do a few problems.
if you're a robot, you say you got this
Then you probably have a virus. Negative 26.
Real.
Now what?
Divide by 8.
Divide by 8.
End of that.
You were like,
I don't know why that took me so long.
So W equals negative what?
it's a fraction.
Negative 13 fourths.
It is definitely 13/4. I don't think y'all actually needed your calculator for that.
Probably not. Yay.
All right, kids. I'll see y'all Thursday.